Hi, this is Bill at A-Bars in Windsor, Ontario, and you're watching the Comic Book Syndicate.
Kevin?
Mike?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks.
Here we are, Comic Book Syndicate. Whenever we want to talk about comic books, we always have our friend Kevin along, and here he is. We're here to talk about point ones.
What's a point one?
Who could that? Oh, look, it's George. He decided to join us this week. How you doing,
I was
George?
casually collecting masks in the basement,
Okay.
as I often do.
We're here to talk about point ones.
What is a point one?
A point one meaning the numbering, like you have
Right.
number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.1 rather than 6.
It sounds like a great idea, like those Tron covers.
Yeah. Well, I think that I see nothing wrong with the jumping on point, but to me, Jim Shooter used to have a saying, every comic is the first comic for somebody. So ideally, there should be a way for any reader to come onto a comic at any time. It doesn't have to always be a starting point, but ideally, every few months, there should be a place for someone to jump on, right?
Yeah, they always overemphasize this idea that either the movies or some 5-point something is going to be some way to get someone started in the book. I mean, I grabbed Classic X-Men issue 7 and read it, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know who any of these people are.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm very interested.
Right.
My first DC comic was not Crisis number 1, it was Crisis number 3 from 1985. And it was interesting enough that it pulled me in and made me want to read more. Now, a point one, again, the only medium this could happen in is the comic book medium, because there's no other medium on earth that focuses so much on the numbering of an issue. It just is so ridiculous. Like I've said this before on the show, but can you imagine you're watching, I don't know what, Grey's Anatomy, and you're actually worried about what episode number it is. But by adding a point one to that episode number, it's going to make you want to watch it more. It's just so preposterous.
Yeah, I think it insults the intelligence of the reader, too, really. I mean, you're right. I mean, I remember Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man 129, right in the middle of the story. It didn't matter to me. I read it, and then I wanted to read more of the issues and find out a little bit more about them. And another thing they can do, and they've done before, is they used to put summaries at the beginning of the title, just previously what's happening.
I always skip the first 2 bubbles. It's always young man from Krypton landed in the, you're like, I know.
Yeah.
I'm well aware where he's from.
I agree. You know what this kind of reminds me of?
What's that, Mike?
It reminds me of the way they renumber comics every couple years, and I really thought Marvel was getting over it, but guess what? It turns out they've already started Thor over at number 1.
That's right.
They're going to be starting Daredevil over at number 1,
Yep.
and there's rumors they're restarting Captain America over at number 1.
Cap at number 1. I mean, I know they have the movie.
This is volume 6 now.
Oh.
Who is this helping? Is it helping new readers? Maybe. But it also makes it confusing. I go into the store, for example, and I think to myself, you know what? I like Garth Ennis' Punisher. Well, I want to find the other issues. Well, I'm going through the back issue bin, and I got Punisher Marvel Knights number 1, Punisher Max number 1, Punisher number 1. Yeah. So you know which ones I bought? None of them, because I didn't know where to start. Yeah. But if it was number 312, 313, 314.
Yeah, and a good a good shop or can be well organized enough, but even then, it's too confusing. I mean, I'd hate to be an X-Men collector. I mean, I like X-Men, don't get me wrong, and I'll read any issue in front of me, but I'd absolutely hate to be looking for something of any X-Men book or X-Factor or Excalibur.
You disagree with me?
No, I agree with you. What I'm saying is you can get help to find this stuff, and finding it online is all there.
Oh, I see.
But you're adding an extra element. I don't need to be like a treasure hunter.
Sure.
You know, who went to like 4 universities and got his master's in math in order to find like 1 issue.
Talking about also when we're talking about the point one, why then you're starting over at number 1 again if you have a point one starting point? Also, too, I mean, I remember being confused with Legion of Superheroes that kept rebooting the series.
Legion is the worst.
Yeah, so trying to follow that really is confusing. And now they call the numbering legacy numbering for 600 or so. And then it's just, when the sales go down on a comic, then they go back to number 1. When the number 1 starts to slow down, they see if they can get it at issue 600 or 500, and then they put that out again just to try to bump up the sales. It's very confusing.
Okay, with that, we'd like to welcome you to episode 57.1 of the Comic Book Syndicate. We'll be back right after this. Hi guys, here we are. We're actually going to talk about something we usually don't review on the show, which is online comics. So we're here with G.I. Jolie and the Uppinator. I don't know what to call you, man. What are you?
Johann Kockenheimer.
Johann Kockenheimer from What's Upham fame. Dan Upham. How you doing, man?
I'm doing.
Oh, good, man. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks,
Okay,
man.
so why don't you tell us the name of this comic?
It is called Cabra Cini.
Cabra Cini. Okay, and Jolie, what genre would this be?
It's sort of horror, sort of thriller, sort of suspense.
Okay.
It's a lot of things, possibly. It's hard to explain. Yeah.
It's 57.
Were you intrigued by the story? Did it pull you in? Were you interested in it at all?
You can't put 50 pages of story into 8 pages.
Okay.
And I understand that, like, this chick's supposed to be. Can I say
You can say bad.
bad?
Yeah.
Can I say?
No.
Okay. This chick's supposed to be like bad and cool, and she's really intense. But the thing is, like, all this storyline, there's a million different things going on, and it's basically an introductory issue. It just gives you the background of literally everything, like anything you can think of, even that doesn't relate to the story. And it takes away from the fact that she's supposed to be really bad, and there's like gory killings, which is pretty cool. But I mean, it's long and dry.
So, okay, now what about the art? How's the art, Jolie?
The art's not bad. As a colorist, I really enjoyed the liberties that the colorist took. The palette's really nice, really rich. It's not overly saturated. It's dark, so it keeps the mood.
I think for a voodoo type of book, and the characters are actually dark, like the way they're supposed to be, and the tone of the art actually matches the tone of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
It matches. So
Though as far as storytelling, because the script is so dense and there's so much that they're trying to explain, there's a disconnect between the images themselves and what it's trying to convey. There'll be one frame with 3 different really, really key plot points, but one illustration to try and convey that, and it comes out as unsuccessful.
So it sounds like, from what you've told me, there's too much backstory, too much explanation, not enough story, not enough unfolding.
Yes.
And so they would have been better off to lay the story out and sort of give clues along the way over the course of, like you said, 50 issues rather than 8 pages.
I think the authors are definitely trying to lure in the reader with all this backstory and, like, you know, trying to get everything out there. So what if more issues come out?
Yeah, for me, the only thing that should have mattered was the beginning and the end. But everything in between, it could have unfolded so much better if it was just expanded over more time.
Okay, so unfortunately not recommended. Sorry, guys. Better luck next time, right?
If you like Dog the Bounty Hunter, you're gonna like this story. There's crack, there's prostitutes,
bounty hunting.
there's bounty hunting.
Tampons.
There you go. So fans of Dog the Bounty Hunter, pick this sucker up. All right, see you soon. We are here at the Motor City Comic Con, and we're about to do an interview with what appears to be a real-life superhero. Are you a superhero, sir?
Yes, I am. I'm called the Cardinal.
Okay, and where do you fight crime?
In Harbour City, which is outside of Detroit, just a little ways.
And is there much crime in Harbour City, and if so, what type?
You know, there's a lot of corruption that goes on in that city. There was a evil mayor in town a while back, caused all kinds of trouble, and I'm still fighting off some of the criminals that mayor allowed into the city.
Okay, now do you have any superpowers?
I can fly.
Really? And how did you gain that ability?
I was touched by an angel.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Was it a cherubim or a seraphim?
You know, I'm not sure.
Do you appear in a comic book as well?
Yes, I appear in a comic book, and also I have an ongoing online comic strip. And we've also had 2 movies made that are direct-to-DVD movies. Comic Book Syndicate, assemble!
Okay, the first thing I have to say is that now obviously it's really high production value.
Yeah,
everything
absolutely.
from the paper stock to the binding to the whatever.
Yeah.
However, I really don't think, to be honest, that the quality of the art itself justifies the production value.
The art, there was some good art in it. There was some other things that what I disliked about it, and the reason why I'm so glad that they sent this book in. I was happy to read it. I actually struggled a little bit near the end, only because they kind of showed their cards too early.
Sure.
Especially by putting the skull with the fangs on the cover.
Yes.
And then trying to create a mystery. There's just a few little problems, but for a first effort by these people, I was impressed. Like I said, it looked nice, it looked shiny.
Well, you know,
Felt good.
If you could talk about the specifics of it, the way that the mystery is laid out is fine. You know, some of the dialogue is good. There's some good moments in it. I just think that in this day and age, you can't possibly create a mystery around werewolves. Around the idea that it's just like vampires. Like right now in 2011, you just can't do it. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe 15, but right now, because of all the other stuff that's going on, you can't possibly have that be.
It did seem like
shock. Like,
well, there's too many alternatives for this genre that I can easily turn to any number of other stories I can relate to more. I definitely saw lots of good storytelling from that artist. The artist either instinctually knows how to drive a story from panel to panel. But regardless, again, for a first effort, this was really a beautiful book. I mean, the sheriff character I really dug. You know, he's a classic. He's the jerk sheriff guy, but he was well done. You know.
Well, then, I mean, overall, I would say definitely a good effort. Hopefully, the creators will develop as they go along.
Yeah.
Right.
Hope to see more.
McDougan.
MCD.
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 Ugan.
Ugan, got it.
Ugan.
All right. Jokes are always funnier the second time.